Hello friends, how are you all? I'm quite sure you're all keeping fine. At the same time, you may be busy with so many other things other than studies, because I realize very few are watching the videos and you are just ignoring the videos or the other works that we are interesting to you. So please come back to a serious mode of studies and try your level best to give the best, because at the end otherwise you may have lack of time and you may be regretting on the time that you have wasted. So pay attention and do the best in order to acquire more knowledge and wisdom, ideas and so on. So today let us study about the development of resources. We studied about different types of resources, and today we come to the development of resources. So we said some of the resources can get over within a period of time because they are not renewable. Some of them are renewable. So whatever may be the resources that we need to develop, we need to make use of it in a proper way, because the resources are a must for development, economic development. So how we will use them for development and how we will make it develop in the course of time, and so that's what we are going to see in today's class. You can follow your textbook, page number 3. So resources, we know, they are vital for development. So a country that has no resources, for them it is very difficult to develop. They have to import from other countries. So they will have to pay extra money and bring from other countries in order to bring the development. And Japan is a very good example for that. They have very few natural resources, and so they have to import that natural resources from other countries, and that way they bring development to their country. And they invest a lot of money in education, in training and so on. That's why a lot of people, though it is a small country, a lot of their citizens are well educated, well trained, and in the IT technology and so on, they are much ahead than other bigger nations. Though it is a small country, it is able to reach to the stage of development in spite of not having natural resources. They are still able to reach that stage of development. That is because of their hard work, because of their vision. They have invested a lot in the human resources. So they develop the human resources, and human resources in turn help them to reach development. And because of that, they are able to maintain a quality of life. If you go to Japan, you will see the way they live, the houses they make, all that. It is all because of the resources that they import from other countries and how they are making use of it and so on. And people in olden times, they believed that these resources are a free gift of nature. Of course, they are a free gift of nature, but we need to involve ourselves in order to get access to it. So human labor or human technology also is important. So people thought that it is a free gift of nature, and they began to use it lavishly. They never thought about the requirement for the future generation, and they never had a slight idea that if you go on using it unnecessarily or misusing it or overusing it, it may get over. Such kind of ideas did not come to their mind. They just went on using and using it. And now we realize the resources have been depleting. It has become lesser and lesser. And if it is going on at this stage or at this rate, then after a few years, it may not be available anymore. So we need to realize, though it has been quite late, we need to still realize the seriousness that we are causing to the nature by overusing the natural resources. So in order to protect these natural resources, we need to use it very carefully. Indiscriminate use we need to avoid. Indiscriminate means a very careless use. So we must use it very carefully and we must use it in the proper way. So some of the reasons why the resources have been depleted. Let us see what are they. Some of them are the depletion of resources for satisfying the greed of few individuals. So few people or few individuals, they may be very rich, therefore they want to use it only for themselves. All the resources that are available, they say, give to me, I will buy. So they go on buying more than what they require, and that has caused the depletion. That is one reason. And the second reason is accumulation of resources in few hands, which in turn divided society into two segments, that is the have and the have not. So we said few individuals who are very rich, they go on buying the resources, maybe the lands or maybe the other resources. So they acquire more, accumulate more, and therefore what happens? The society economically is divided. One group is the have, that means the rich, they have enough or more than enough, and the other one is the have not. Those who don't have even the basic necessities are not there. So the have and the have not, or we can say the rich and the poor, is the society is divided into two because of this greediness of certain people. Then this indiscriminate exploitation of resources, so that improper use of resources has led to global ecological crisis. So because of this indiscriminate use of these natural resources, it has even led to the global crisis, ecological crisis. For example, we can say the global warming is taking place. We know the temperature maybe some 50 years ago was much low, and now in some places in India we cannot live on the open ground, especially during the day. It is so hot and the people get sick and fall down and die. So the temperature has been rising continuously in the all over the world. In the poles, in the southern pole and the northern pole, all these areas were covered with ice, but now it is said that this ice has started melting. That means the temperature is increasing and the ice cubes or such a large piece of ice in the polar regions, they start melting. So all that are effects of the human activities. Then other thing that is happening, or the harmful thing that is happening, is ozone layer depletion. So we know in the atmosphere, above the atmosphere there is an ozone layer which is protecting the earth and all its inhabitants from harmful sun rays. So because of this temperature increasing, or because of the increase of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, this ozone layer, it gets depleted. It becomes thinner and thinner, and afterwards it will have holes. So then holes are there, means that harmful rays from the sun, it can enter into the earth. Before, the ozone layer was very thick and it was blocking all these harmful rays of the sun. But now it has become thinner and thinner, and now some places it is completely worn out and holes are created, and through these holes the harmful rays are entering into the earth, and that is very dangerous for human beings. People can get serious sicknesses like cancer and so on. So that is very dangerous. And then environmental pollution is taking place. We know in most of the places there is no proper cleanliness. People simply throw bottles everywhere, plastics everywhere, they go and throw waste on the roadside and so. If we travel through this roadside, we will find many people go and throw their waste on the roadside, and that area becomes wasteland filled with waste, acidic things and so on. So that is another problem. The water gets polluted, the soil gets polluted and so on. So all these things happen because of overuse of overuse of these natural resources by the people. Then, as I said, land degradation because of overuse of fertilizers, because of overuse of irrigation or pesticides and so on. That also is affecting the water, the land, the soil and so on. So all these things are taking place. It is because of human beings' activities. We are not limiting our activity to what is necessary, but we go on using it because some of us are very greedy. Some of us want to show that I have more wealth, therefore I want to increase my wealth. So all this attitude, it is doing harm not only to oneself but to the entire humanity, to the world. Therefore, we need to have concern for others, we need to have love for others, and therefore we and every human being should use these natural resources with proper distribution, with proper planning. Otherwise, the whole area will be affected. So it is said that the fossil fuel like diesel, petrol and so on, if you go on using at this rate, after a few years the source will dry up and there will be no more petroleum products. And can you imagine what will happen if there is no petrol and diesel available? Can you say? There will be no vehicles moving, people who are traveling to and fro very often, maybe for a simple purpose, they take gadi and go, and if the fuel supply is coming to an end, and all those people will suffer, they will have to walk and go, or will have to depend on electricity gadi. So all these things will happen and all the people will suffer. So in order to avoid that kind of sufferings, what we need is, we need to be careful and we need to use our resources in a very proper way. That is called development of resources. Then an equitable distribution of resources has become essential and sustain quality of life and global peace. So if you want to have global peace, peace of the whole world, whole universe, what we need to have? We need to have an equitable distribution of resources. Resources should be distributed equally. Because some people are very rich or some countries are very rich, therefore they try to buy all the resources for themselves. And those poor countries, they cannot buy, therefore they continue to remain poor. So then there will be no peace. When my neighbor is very rich and he has got plenty of weapons of war, then the neighboring country, I cannot live peacefully. I may think, or I may be under fear that this country may attack me anytime because they are such a powerful, they have so many weapons and so on. So there will not be peace. But if these resources are distributed equally, then what happens? Everybody can live in peace, nobody is a threat to another, and all will be able to live in peace. Then, if the present trend of resources depletion by few individuals and few countries continues, then the future of the planet is in danger. So at present, some countries are going on accumulating lot of resources for themselves, and some are struggling. They don't have enough money to buy resources, or they don't have the resource in their own country itself. So if this trend is going on, that we are overusing it without any care, then what will happen? The life of our planet is in danger. Which is our planet? The Earth. The planet Earth is in danger. We cannot expect there will be life on the earth, in our planet, after a few years, because the development is heading towards such a disaster that the existence of life on this planet will be doubtful, or it will be difficult. And therefore, resource planning is essential for sustainable existence of all forms of life on this earth. So, if you want to have life in this planet after a few years, what you need to do? You need to have proper planning of resources. You need to have planning, resource planning. So, we need to plan out how much resource we have, how much stock we have, or how much potential resource we have. We have means not only just for our country, but for the entire world. So, every country will have to sit and take a stock of the resources, the stock that they have. Then they have to plan out, this much I need for development of the country, the rest I will keep for future. So we cannot say I have plenty, so I will use plenty. No, then we will be destroying our earth. So we need to have proper planning. Then sustainable existence is a component of sustainable development. So, if you want to have a sustainable development means continuous development. Otherwise, this year I have plenty of resources, so I will develop nicely, and development will be very high this year. Then afterwards there will be no more resource for using for development, and the development will be coming down. So, that is not sustainable development. Sustainable development means continuous development. So, that is the target of every nation, that we should not stop development, we should continue the development, not overusing it and spoiling the resources and destroying our future. Such kind of things are not properly planned. So we need to do proper planning, and then that is all the duty and responsibility of the government and the officials. A lot of ministries are there, a lot of officials are appointed, and so they have to study the situation and they have to plan out and so on. So we ourselves can only cooperate with the government. We cannot make any decision by ourselves, because all these natural resources are the property of the nation, and therefore government is in charge of all these resources, and they have to plan out. Only then we can cooperate with them. So when the world has realized that there is a need for planning, there is a proper planning is required in order to achieve this development, then government began to make other countries also aware about the serious situation that we are going to face, the problem that we are going to face in the future, and so on. So they decided to come together, plan out together, and make certain decisions in order to avoid the future disaster of the earth. So they thought about the need for sustainable development. Sustainable development, that is called sustain means keep it continuous, keep going continuously. So how can we go on this development continuously? That's what they have been discussing. So sustainable economic development means development should take place without damaging the environment. So development should go on without, but there should be no damage to the environment. So that is no damage. So development should go on, at the same time environment should not be harmed, environment should not be destroyed. So that is what we need to keep in mind. Every nation or every government who think about the development, they should also think about protecting the environment. And development in the present should not compromise with the needs of the future generation. So we said we need development, at the same time we need the development for the future generations as well. So which one is more important? Is the present day development is important or the future development is important? What is your opinion? What is more important? Is the present day development or the future development? Which one is more important? You should say both are important. I cannot say I want development, I don't care about the future, whether they get chance to develop or not. If I take a decision that thinking only about the present and not concerned about the future, then I should say that is a wrong policy, wrong decision. So we should think about the future as well. Or I can make another decision. Oh, I need to protect the future. I need to care for the future generation. So I will not use the resources at all for development. I don't need development. I will keep everything for the future. So if I say that, that is also wrong. So development should go on. It should continue in the present and it should continue in the future as well. Then only we can really say it is a proper development. So if I think only about the present and forget about the future generation, then that is wrong. If I think forget about the present generation and keep concern only about the future generation, that is also wrong. Therefore, sustainable development means the development should go on continuously. At the same time, we should keep in mind that the environment should not have any damage. So, like if you cut down the forest, the environment is damaged. Or if you kill certain species of animals, the environment is damaged. If you use too much of fertilizers on the soil in order to produce more harvest, then the environment is damaged. If you throw all the waste without purifying, if you send the water into the river, in the lake, and so the environment is damaged. So we should avoid doing all these kind of things that can damage the environment. We may be having development. If you have plenty of factories, the development will be faster. But at the same time, we have to make sure the waste that is coming out from the factory is not sent into the river bodies, the water bodies, the lakes, the canals, the rivers and so on. Then all the living beings in the water, the fish and other creatures, they all will suffer, they all will die, and we are damaging the environment. So it is a responsibility of the government to take care of the environment. At the same time, the development should go on. So it is a difficult task to allow the development to go on at the same time to protect the environment. That's why we have so many qualified people in the official level, in the higher levels, to study about the environment, to study about the resources, to plan out the development, all that. So it is their duty, their responsibility to plan out this development, and we as a dutiful citizens, we can cooperate with them, we can follow the directions that they give, and that way we can also be part of this sustainable development program. We can help our present generation. At the same time, we can also have concern about the future generation, and then we will be champions, we can say, of sustainable development. So we shall wind up for today, and the next class we shall see what decision or what action government has taken. Governments of the different countries, they have taken in order to protect the environment and keep the development sustainable. So thank you for listening. We will see you again in the next class. Bye.